So we're on a journey to try and find God this Christmas in unexpected places. I was thinking last time about the angels, how they arrived in the lives of the shepherds of all people, and what that kind of means for us, these people. But then there's a person that the angels point the people towards. To you in David's town, a saviour has been born. God somehow in human form, in human flesh. We find God in Jesus in the flesh, which means that no matter what we're going through, we have a God who understands. However we feel, we're never alone. God is with us, and his determination to be with us, to reach out to us, to save us, to bless us, knows no bounds. And then the angels say, go and see for yourselves. It's an amazing thought, isn't it? John writes about it this way, that the Word, that which was in the beginning both with God and itself divine, has become flesh. And he doesn't end there, he says, and he dwells among us. The Word becomes flesh, and of course that happens in a very literal sense, in the miracle of the incarnation, in the person of Jesus himself. We see God revealed. But of course we've learned a lot in our day about what's called neuroplasticity. It's a posh word that basically means that what we think literally shapes our brain and shapes who we become. So if we spend a lot of time thinking on negative things, we become a negative person. We are what we eat in that sense. And hopefully these times and other times over Christmas, a chance for us to reshape our thinking. The Word became flesh in Jesus, and as we spend time thinking about him and with his Word and his words, somehow the Word becomes flesh, reshapes us, remolds us. So what kind of life did Jesus step into? I mean, that's the whole question, isn't it? It's amazing if you think one of his first experiences on the planet was that of rejection. Nobody wanted him in Bethlehem. And so there is this incredible truth that whenever we feel unwanted, whenever anybody makes us feel less than enough, less than welcome, God somehow can identify with that in a very real and a very radical way. And if we follow the story on just a little bit, we've got the story of Jesus as a child then, getting lost in the temple, getting left behind as Mary and Joseph return home from this amazing worship journey that they've been on. And when Mary finds him in the temple, she does what every mother would do, kind of rushes over and says, why have you done this to us? Where have you been? And Jesus' words are so telling. Why were you looking for me? Didn't you know I'd have to be in my Father's house? Jesus somehow in this moment has been misunderstood. And I'm sure in a mother's fears, all kinds of emotions and feelings are racing through her head. But Jesus knows what it's like to be misunderstood. There's another time, only a few years later, as Jesus enters public ministry, when he goes to his hometown, his synagogue in Nazareth, where he's been growing up. He unrolls the scroll of the prophet Isaiah and gets to a passage that refers to himself and the kind of life he's going to live and the kind of ministry he's going to have. And he says, today this scripture has been fulfilled in your hearing. And initially people are excited about this as a response, but then there's this feeling that spreads over the crowd. Isn't he the carpenter's son? Isn't he Joseph's boy? Isn't he just? And so Jesus is not just unwelcome at the start of his life or misunderstood early on, he's totally disregarded and unappreciated. This is a very human experience, isn't it? I mean, how many times have we been under or unappreciated in our lives? Maybe we've felt that way long enough that it has shaped the way that we think about ourselves. Maybe we've heard people say long enough to us, you're just this, or you're not that. And maybe we've allowed that to affect ourselves. Well, all of that ends with this: you are not alone. The Word, God, has become flesh, has dwelt among us. He loves you. He's come to be with you so that you can do life with Him and not without Him. This Christmas, we find God in the flesh.